Okay, I'd like to call the meeting of the Santa Barbara Unified Board of Education to order. It is 4:36. Seeing that there's no speaker cards for closed session items, we will now move into closed session. Okay, I'd like to call the meeting of the Santa Barbara Unified School District to order. It is 6:12. Before we move into closed session, let's see. I'm sorry. Do I do this part before the recording out from the closed session?
Yes, because the recorded of the closed session is actually, it's right here. It's number 6.
Before, we'd like to take public comment on closed session items only.
We've already done
No,
closed
I'm
session. You're
sorry.
starting in the open
Okay,
session.
sorry about that. That's why it didn't make sense. Okay. We will now explain language access for this meeting.
Good evening. There is interpretation into Spanish available on Zoom as well as American Sign Language. Buenas noches. Hay interpretación al español disponible en Zoom, así también como lenguaje de señas estadounidense. Gracias. Thank you.
Dr. Maldonado, will you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Absolutely. Please stand and face the flag.
Okay, tonight Superintendent Maldonado will administer the oath of office to our new student board member. Whenever you're ready.
Please join me on the floor here, Victoria. Is this where you want us? Okay, very good. Welcome to your first meeting, Victoria. We're very happy to have you here today. And this is your oath of office. Do you, Victoria Martinez Benaranda, solemnly swear that you will support and defend the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of California against enemies, foreign and domestic, that you will bear true faith and allegiance to the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of California, that you take this obligation freely without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion, and that you will well and faithfully discharge the duties upon which you are about to enter.
I, Victoria Martinez Peñaranda, do solemnly swear that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of California against enemies, foreign and domestic, that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of California, that I take this obligation freely without any mental reservation for purpose of evasion, and that I will well and faithfully discharge the duties upon which I am about to enter.
Congratulations, you're officially our brand new student board member for 26-27. I just want to acknowledge her mom and dad are here along with her sister. Thank you so much.
Now we will go to announcement of closed session action. In closed session, the board voted 4-0 with President Banning absent to approve the appointment of Elva Gonzalez Nares as Director of Secondary. Okay, we will now hear from our student board member for their report.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. My name is Victoria Martinez Peñaranda. I'm really grateful and excited to step into my term as a student board member to voice the student experience in SB Unified. especially by illuminating the voices that might often go unnoticed. I'm a rising senior who's been in SB Unified for many years and have taken action to support the well-being of our students throughout our community by teaching free yoga at local parks, advocating on a local youth mental health board, and serving as the co-president of the Wellness Connection Club at Middle College. I attend Middle College, which is a high school program based at Santa Barbara City College where students take SBCC classes in person, have access to all SBCC resources, and complete online high school work. In June, students at Middle College published an anthology titled Soul and invited students from across alternative education to contribute. The anthology features a collection of creative writing and artwork by students from alternative education schools. I brought a copy with me today if anyone would like to take a look through it. Students at Middle College spent weeks hosting writing workshops and collecting submissions, culminating in the anthology launch night at the Santa Barbara Museum of Art, where students presented their work. I would like to share a clip of one of the many students who presented that night and who composed his own piece, Paul McLean, a senior at Middle College who will be attending UC Berkeley this fall. That was one of the many students from Alta Vista who shared that night. He played the violin, but many students read their beautifully written poems. Students are very grateful to the Santa Barbara Education Foundation for funding the teacher grant that made this project possible for Middle College students and all of alternative education students. I'd also like to acknowledge all of the current high school students across the entire district who are taking college courses at SBCC this summer, a period when classes can be as short as 5 weeks. Students who have 504 plans or different needs still have access to accommodations for SBCC classes under DSPS, Disability Services and Programs for Students. I highlight the clarity of SBCC's DSPS because during my time at San Marcos, I built a network of students who all had 504 plans or an IEP, and they shared recent concerns regarding the confusion that came with having accommodations and oftentimes the denial of their accommodations from adults. So they shared the wish of there being more education for students around 504 plans. And I hope to bring a student who is a part of that network in a report in the near future. I bring this up because the student population already faces inevitable challenges, and it's key to ensure they don't encounter more barriers, especially considering our percent of students who have learning disabilities. And I believe, considering 14% of our students have learning disabilities, and I believe that this data only represents the students who've been assessed and identified. It's worth sharing to better understand the experiences of students and their parents who may feel ashamed, scared, or embarrassed to speak up. As the college application season begins for seniors, this period can create competition, anxiety for students for many reasons, including expectations being pushed online by parents and by others. And of course, a lot of the time, the pressure comes from a good place, but it doesn't take away from the negative stress that it places on students. In 2022, a 16-year-old student from Missouri was offered what he believed was anti-anxiety medication to help him keep up with school, but the pill was unfortunately laced with fentanyl and took his life. His parents described him as someone who cared deeply about others, but quietly feared failure and put immense pressure on himself. Seeing the story resurface in the news before the college application process officially starts compels me to tell students that there's so much more than a college acceptance or denial, that they'll succeed wherever they go because of their actions and who they are, not solely based on test scores or grades. I look forward to continuing bringing updates on our student community. Please reach out to me with any and all student-related questions. I'm here for all SB Unified students. Thank you to staff, faculty, district leaders, community partners, the board, parents, and everyone who supports our students every day. Your work does not go unnoticed. Remember to lead with kindness, empathy, and curiosity. That concludes my first report. Thank you.
Thank you. Superintendent Maldonado, the floor is yours.
Excellent report, Victoria, and board members and the public. I'd like to also acknowledge we have 3 high school students, hopefully, well, I see elementary students, 3 high school students, and I'm not sure if Victoria's sister is a high school student. I think you're a college student. Yes. Emilio, Mateo, and Frida are also here with the, did I get it right? Is it Emilio next to you, Mateo? Yeah, okay. Who are high school students who were also interested in the student board member, and they're all working with Victoria, and we had a short conversation with Mateo this weekend, or Friday, and I just want to acknowledge, thank you all 3 for being here as well. So with that, board members, for my report today, I just want to start with we're underway, or almost a month away from start of the next school year. Over the summer, we welcomed some of our newest leaders, and I want to introduce them today. We have a few more. First, we're going to start with Alex Wilson, who's now been selected as our next principal, Alta Vista La Cuesta, Victoria's new principal, former assistant principal, a familiar face to our families in our schools. She is taking over the role after spending a year there as an assistant principal. Alex, the floor is yours. If you can come up to the podium.
Can you hear me? Okay. Good evening, Board of Trustees, Superintendent Maldonado, and community members. My name is Alex Wilson, and I am deeply honored to introduce myself as the new principal of Alternative Education. I am a proud product of Santa Barbara Public Schools, from Adams Elementary to La Cumbre Middle School and San Marcos High. The very first time I stood in this boardroom, I was actually a middle schooler at the public comment mic advocating for 6th grade to stay at La Cumbre. While I now understand the administrative logistics behind the decision, even as a teenager, I learned a crucial lesson: the importance of using your voice to advocate for opportunities. I come from a family of educators. My biggest inspirations are my mom, who was a reading interventionist, and my aunt, a special education teacher, both at Adams while I was a student. Raised in that environment, I learned 3 core truths early on. 1, office and custodial staff are the true heartbeat of every school. 2, every single student deserves to be seen, heard, and valued. And 3, you always lead with empathy. My path back to the classroom was anything but traditional. After college, I spent most of my 20s as a nanny and a tutor. But the defining moment came when I sat in an IEP meeting as a parent designee for a family I supported. Watching the team advocate for a child sparked a fire in me. And at 30, I earned my special education and multiple subject credentials and began co-teaching 7th grade math at Santa Barbara Junior High. 7 months later, the pandemic hit. Learning to navigate 7th grade math online taught me how to pivot on a dime, because I never knew pre-COVID teaching. I entered this profession with a permanent mindset. We must constantly innovate to meet students and families where they are today. During my 6 years at Santa Barbara Junior High as a teacher and MTSS TOSA, I focused on building systems for the whole child, establishing the Nest, the Wellness Center, I believe it was actually the first in the district, to leading data-driven intervention teams. I served on district committees, including Instructional Council, Math Curriculum, Adoption Executive Committee, SST Advisory Committee, and District-Wide Leadership PLC. Wise mentors helped me realize that while direct service changes lives, administrative leadership allows us to remove systematic barriers for all students. Serving as assistant principal this past year confirmed that alternative education is where my heart belongs. Our students are seeking a different path, whether they need flexible scheduling, mental health support, immersing themselves at SBCC, or rapid credit recovery. They do not fit in the standard mold, and that is precisely their strength. On the last day of summer school, I sat on the back patio watching a group of future seniors play basketball. One by one, they came over to chat about their post-graduation plans: a future firefighter, a young entrepreneur, and prospective SBCC students. Many were kids I've known since 7th grade, who some once doubted they'd ever see a diploma. As I shared with one student how proud I was to witness his growth over the years, he looked at me, smiled, and congratulated me on my growth too. Moments like that remind us why we do this work. It's a shared journey. I am thrilled to lead our dedicated team, celebrate our student superpowers, and ensure our alternative education programs remain a beacon of second chances, high expectations, and transformational growth. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Wilson. We're looking forward to all your greatness. Next up, we have the next principal of Santa Barbara Junior High School, Dr. Valerie Lebrantz. She joins us from Kern High School District, where she was an assistant principal. I'd like to invite her now to introduce herself. And I see she's got some wonderful children, and I believe her husband with her.
Yeah, I do. Well, good evening. Good evening, board. Dr. Maldonado, our associate superintendents, our general counsel, and our Santa Barbara community. My name is Dr. Valerie Lebrantz, and I will say it is really an honor and a privilege to get to lead and serve at the Santa Barbara Junior High School. So my journey as an educator, I worked for Los Angeles Unified for 7 years, and in that role, I was an adapted PE teacher. So I was an itinerant teacher. I traveled amongst many schools in the district, and I also worked with our Special Olympics. So I was in LAUSD for 7 years, and then I transitioned to the Kern High School District. In the Kern High School District, I went back into physical education. I was a PE teacher for 2 years, and then I also started our kinesiology program with the CTE program there. From there, I was a dean of student behavior and supports, so working on a lot of our MTSS, all of our response to intervention, response to behavior. I set up a lot of systems through PBIS and working with our staff to support that culture building across our campus. So I did that for 3 years and then transitioned to an AP of administration. In that particular role, I had the opportunity to work with our classified personnel. And then we lovingly call it doors and floors, right? That's everything in our facilities, everything in between. And so really, I had a really good understanding of how to focus on getting my school not just looking good from the inside, but on the outside too, right? So then I was able to move into the assistant principal of instruction. I absolutely loved that role. In that role, I learned so much about our PLC process and became quite a bit of a guru with our PLC process. It is my jam. I have talked to Dr. Maldonado about it. I love the PLC process. It's definitely a process. So I bring a little bit of that expertise with me there. But I got to work very closely with our counselors, with our teachers, and in turn, looking at grading for equity, right? And looking at those concepts. So very excited to get to transition into that type of role. And I loved being able to work with our teachers and look at that as such a important piece that we focus on for our students. When I have happy teachers, I have super happy students. And so it all affects each other. As I've gotten to know Santa Barbara Junior High over the last 3 weeks, it has been really an honor and a privilege. And just getting to know our staff, they've been so welcoming and just welcoming with open arms and lots of good conversation. And so we're getting off to the right start. And, together, I think what we are Santa Barbara Junior High. And so I am super excited to lead this year, work with the district, work with you. And so just thank you for welcoming me here to Santa Barbara Unified. So thank you. I didn't even introduce my poor husband. A little bit about me, right? My husband was a distinguished Don, which is what brings us back to Santa Barbara. And then my 2 children here, Charlotte and William. And so we are super excited to be back here in Santa Barbara. We're both UCSB graduates. That's obviously what brought me to Santa Barbara in the first place. But yeah, super excited to be back in Santa Barbara. I did work here for a summer back in 2014 as an adaptive PE teacher. So when they looked at my stuff, they're like, wait, were you here before? And yes, I was. So very proud to be back. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We look forward to connecting your husband with the Alumni Association at Santa Barbara High. I also now want to turn our attention to what's going on with summer school. I want to share a highlight from our summer programming. I had the absolute joy of visiting our elementary summer school programs. During my visit to Franklin, I saw our incredible teachers using hands-on math games to connect classroom lessons directly connected to real-world applications. It was inspiring to watch our students stay so engaged, laughing, collaborating, and deepening their learning straight through the summer months. We also had 12 high school students complete credits to earn their diplomas, as Ms. Wilson, I called you Dr. Wilson earlier. I'll just give you the title. I want to congratulate them. They showed resilience and determination. There's many reasons why some students don't make it across the finish line in June. But in life, the greatest skill of successful people is the ability to persist and to carry on. These students have shown this, and I'm proud of them and grateful to our administrators, Alex Wilson, Jessica Sanford, Alex Sheldon, and Gabi Cabrera, and Mary Ziegler, and all the teachers who cheer them on. Si se puede, yes, we can. So I'm really proud of those 12 graduates. I also want to let the board know that the Budget Act for 26-27 was signed by Governor Newsom on June 29th, which was after our last board meeting of this last school year. And it has several changes that will have an impact on our Santa Barbara Unified adopted budget for 26-27 fiscal year. There are some significant allocations of one-time funds that were not included in the adopted budget, as well as a mandate for providing pregnancy disability leave with no additional funding for a community-funded district like ours. We want to acknowledge the changes and projected dollar amounts, but will incorporate the impact of these changes in the first interim budget, as specific amounts are not yet known, and planning for these items still has to be done. Conrad will, our Assistant Superintendent of Business Services, Mr. Tedeschi, will bring an update on all of these to the August 11th board meeting. And next, a quick reminder regarding our summer food service program. Free summer meals will continue running right up until the start of the new school year. The current serving locations are Cleveland, Franklin, Harding, Monroe, La Cuesta, La Cumbre, San Marcos, Santa Barbara High, Oak Park, Ortega Park, and the Santa Barbara Public Library. If you miss any of the dates or times listed here tonight, you can always find the full updated schedule on our website at sbunified.org. And finally, looking ahead to our preparations for the upcoming school year, we're about to pick up momentum. Next week, we kick off our July Leadership Institute, where we bring together all our administrators for both the classified and certificated side, and where we get to align the key goals that we identified as a board, as a governance team at the board study session on July 11th. These next few weeks are truly vital as we lay the groundwork for a smooth, successful, and welcoming opening day for all our students and families. And that concludes my board report. Thank you.
Thank you. Now we will have public comments on non-agenda items.
There are no public comments on non-agenda items.
Okay, thank you. So then we'll move to board comments and correspondence. Okay, seeing there are none, then we'll go ahead and go to action agenda. Before we begin, I'll open the floor for public comment on action agenda items. As a reminder, per board bylaw 9323, comment is limited to 20 minutes total per item, with 3 minutes per speaker, and speaker cards must be submitted before an item is taken up. Does anyone wish to speak on any item on tonight's action agenda?
There have been no public comments submitted for this item, G1.
Okay, let's see. So we'll go to G1, student reentry recommendations.
So I would like to move to approve the recommendation for... I don't think there's any board comments on this, correct?
No.
So I would like to make a motion to approve the recommendation for re-entry for case number 202-526-08 and case number 202-526-11.
I'll second that.
Okay, can I call for a vote? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, passes anonymous. Okay, now we'll go to the inter-district transfer appeals. And are there any public comments on that?
There are no public comments on this matter.
Okay, so on this one, we'll make a motion on them individually. The first one, let's see, is 2026-27-T01. Do I have a motion on that?
I would like to make a motion to deny interdistrict transfer appeal number 202-627-T01.
Is there a second?
I second.
Okay, call for a vote. Oh, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, okay, passes anonymously. Okay, unanimously. Now we will go to 2026-27-T02.
I make a motion to deny interdistrict transfer appeal number 202-627-T02.
Second.
Okay, can I have a vote? Okay,
Aye.
thank you. Passes unanimously. Now we will go to 2026-27-T03. Do I have a motion? Sorry.
I make a motion to deny interdistrict transfer appeal number 202-627-T03.
Second.
Okay, can I have a vote? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, okay, passes unanimously. Now we will go to 2026-27-T04. Do I have a motion?
I make a motion to approve interdistrict transfer appeal number 202-627-T04.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, passes unanimously. Okay, now we will go to item G3, naming of La Colina Junior High Central Stage, the David Ortiz Palm Stage.
Good evening, Vice President Munoz, board members, and Superintendent Maldonado, and welcome to your first official board meeting. All right, this action item asks the board to dedicate the Central Palm Stage at La Colina Junior High School as the David L. Ortiz Palm Stage in memory of Mr. Ortiz, who served as principal of La Colina from 1997 to 2019. Mr. Ortiz passed away earlier this year. During his career, actually, at La Colina, he served over 22 years as principal. He was known for his hands-on, personal style as principal. We've heard many stories, including from our own colleagues here who knew him personally. And he was really well connected to his students, staff, and families throughout his tenure, as he was developing La Colina Junior High School, and as we know, La Colina today. The Palm Stage was one of his favorite places on the campus. He celebrated generations of 8th grade culminating classes, and hosted many school events, milestones, including the unveiling of the school's 1959 time capsule on this stage. So he spent a lot of time there celebrating the community there. Following his passing, La Colina staff, alumni, and families of community members came together to request this specific dedication. This past spring, the school installed a memorial plaque and held a recognition ceremony in his honor. We are now bringing this item to the board for formal action under Board Policy 7310. which governs the naming and dedication of the district facilities in memory of deceased staff members. We are asking the board to receive the request to dedicate the Palm Stage in memory of David Ortiz and to dedicate the stage at La Colina Junior High School as the David L. Ortiz Palm Stage as a permanent dedication with no specified end date, and in recognition of his 22 years of service as a principal, and as well as his impact, or recognizing his impact on the school community. So with that, we open to public comment.
I have no public comment that has been requested for this item.
Okay, any board comments or discussion? No? Okay, do I have a motion?
I'll move to approve the dedication of the La Colina Junior High School Central Stage as the David L. Ortiz Palm Stage.
I second the motion.
Okay, can I have the student advisory vote on this item? Aye. Okay. Perfect, thank you. Sorry, I hadn't. And all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, okay. Motion passes unanimously. Okay, so we will go to G4, approval of resolution number 2026, requesting 2026-2027-01, requesting authorization of the disposal of surplus property for the 2026-27 fiscal year.
Good evening, Vice President Munoz, members of the board, Dr. Maldonado. This item and the next item are both annual maintenance resolutions that we pass every year. Per board policy 3270, this allows us to dispose, this particular resolution, 262701, allows us to dispose of personal property and supplies and equipment. And the administrative regulation that goes along with it kind of dictates the process and the procedures and the guidelines for which we do that. So this is not we're disposing anything tonight. This is just allowing us to go through the process throughout the year.
Are there any public comments?
There are no public comments on this item.
Thank you. Let's see, is there any board discussion or questions? No? Okay. Do I have a motion?
I will move to approve resolution number 2026-2027-01, requesting authorization of the disposal of surplus property for the 26-27 fiscal year.
I second the motion.
In favor? Aye. And I'm sorry, the student advisory board vote.
Aye.
Okay. And then all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, passes unanimously. So we'll go to the second one, G5, disposal of surplus instructional material.
Yes, thank you. It's under the same policy, there's a procedure for disposing of instructional materials that's a little different than equipment and supplies. And so we have a separate resolution addressing instructional materials under the same board policy and administration and administrative regulation.
Thank you. Seeing that there are no public comments on this item.
Yeah, there are no public comments on this item.
Okay, we'll go ahead and ask if there is a motion.
Okay. I move for the approval of resolution number 2026-2027-02, requesting the disposal of surplus instructional materials for the 2026-2027 fiscal year.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, student advisory vote?
Aye.
Do I have to repeat that? My microphone wasn't on, sorry.
Oh,
Okay.
Go
I
ahead.
move to approve resolution number 2026-2027-02, requesting the disposal of surplus instructional material for the 2026-2027 fiscal year.
Second.
Okay, student advisory vote?
Aye.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, passes unanimously.
Thank you.
Okay, next we will go to G6, resolution number 2025-2645, intentional use of technology.
Good evening again. I am going to bring up my colleague, Director Rob Cooper, to provide this presentation to you.
Thank you. Good evening, board members. Good evening, Superintendent Maldonado. In this presentation, we are going to walk through the context and purpose behind the tech reform resolutions that you have in front of you tonight. All right. First, I would like to start by thanking all of the parents, the community members, the administrators, the teachers, and students who have been showing up year after year to our tech use committee meetings, our balanced learning with technology committee meetings. This project continues, but this is a culmination of a lot of work that has been going on for a long time. This project has stretched and pushed our technology department. We've already made many changes through, leading up to this resolution, and we are looking forward to continuing that work. Our tech department is full of not only IT professionals, but parents of students in our district, including myself. And so we're proud of the work we're doing to improve the tech offerings that we have for all of our students. The considerations and the goals that we put forward in this resolution are listed here. The ones that I want to point out or really focus on are the first one, the intentional use of technology. We call this resolution the Tech with Intent program, and that is the biggest driving force, the intentionality of everything that we are putting in front of our students when it comes to technology. And then the last one as well that kind of sandwiches it all together, which is the continuous evaluation of the tools we're using and the continuous improvements that we're doing as far as the offerings we have for our students and staff. On this side, we try to answer some of the questions that come up with the resolutions of how are we doing those things. So to go through the bullet points, if we start there up in the top left, that's about how we are teaching our students, right? And using the right tool for the right job. And that right tool may be peer collaboration, that right tool may be a piece of paper and a pencil, or that right tool may be a digital platform. We move over to the right. There we're talking about limits and we're talking about filtering and things like that. But what's important about it, again, is the teaching. Are we teaching students how to use devices? Are we teaching students safe and responsible use of the internet? And then down to the left, that's about our teachers. That is about teachers using their intentionality, teachers rethinking the way that they've structured their classroom, especially in these last few years coming out of COVID and coming out of online school. We're reevaluating what that workflow looks like. And then finally, that last one is about our parent partnerships. Parenting in the digital age, it's cliche, but takes a village. And we believe that we can be facilitators there between our teachers, our district level work that we're doing, but also our parent groups and our nonprofit community partners that we have. We also want to be sure that we are reassuring our community that these tech reforms and these changes will not at all limit or negatively affect our students with disabilities, our emergent multilingual learners, those students who rely on a device for accessibility or communication, of course, will not be negatively affected by any technology changes that we're making. Part of the resolution that you're looking at also extends our Off and Away program that we started years ago. That started with cell phones being restricted during class time, and it has extended from there. In our elementary schools, we don't allow cell phones or personal devices at all. In junior high, where that's a space where students start bringing those devices, they are off and away in a pouch in the backpack all day. In our high school, we have cell phone hotels that are checked in and out every period. And we are expanding that going forward this year, especially in that junior high space, to include our district devices as well. We don't want a situation where students have just replaced looking at their cell phone during lunch and passing periods with looking at our iPads during lunch and passing periods. So we're expanding that off and away all day to include our devices during those times. So this is the tech offering that we have for 26-27. And again, we have reformed and edited what this looks like. So starting at the top in TK, there are no devices in those classrooms. We no longer have any curriculum or assessments that rely on anything digital, so there are no devices in those classrooms. In our young grades K through 2, we're changing that as well to a different configuration for those devices, which are the devices are configured by grade band scopes, meaning that a kindergarten device looks different than a first grade device, different than a second grade device. We plan on issuing 5 iPads to a kindergarten teacher, and when you look at that iPad, there'll be 3-4 apps on there, only the apps that were specifically and intentionally adopted for those grade levels or those assessments needed for that early literacy. Same thing when you pick up a first grade device. There might be 1 or 2 more, but again, it's that intentionality and only the scope for what they need and what was purchased for them. We're doing that across all of our grades in the elementary space. Now, in 3rd grade through 6th grade, those students, we are at a 1-to-1. Every student has checked out a device so that they can do simultaneous work and assessments as needed. But again, that's only expanded to those apps that have been specifically chosen by teachers and by our district as the things that they need. In our junior high space, our 7th and 8th graders, that's when our students start taking devices home, right? All of our elementary devices live at school, they don't go home, but in junior high they do. And so we have you'll see we have some parent choice or some options there on the list that we'll be going over in the next slide. We think we can do a little more to help our parents and families during that transition. And then same thing with our 9th through 12th graders, our high schools bring their devices back and forth so that they can do outside of school work. So let's talk about those choices and that after school time. For elementary, the devices stay at home, but for junior high, we are imagining a situation that we can create where parents have choice in what they get when the device comes home, a change in configuration either set by location or time where the device the screen changes. And based on the conversations and the research that we can do with our junior high principals and teachers, limit that device after school to only what is absolutely necessary for students to do their homework and be successful. That could be an option that we have. And we had success with that already. During the summer, we gave parents an options to turn off, to change the configuration of their iPads over the summer, have a screen-free summer. So we had success being able to move students in and out of those configurations. And so we plan on moving that forward for even more parent choice. And of course, another choice would be to give students the same options after school as they have in school for those students that are utilizing many apps for their creative writing and their video projects and their artwork. They could still have a different configuration that opens things up a little bit more for them as well. Okay. Here are some of the improvements we've already made as part of our tech reform. In our technology department, as well as partnering with other departments. We have worked with our vendor partners to audit the way we manage and deploy our devices, and we are working through the list of recommendations that those partners gave us. We improved the filtering and safety on our iPads. We deployed a new and improved on-device filter to the iPads. We removed YouTube access for students, and we blocked AI sites for our student iPads. Clarifying the YouTube question, teachers can still deliver video content to students through YouTube that they have accumulated and vetted over the years. What we've done is really just put the teacher in between Open YouTube and the student. By using the learning management system, that content can be delivered without opening up, the side scrolling of YouTube and the continuous play. It's just that video. And any video that teachers want to deliver or students want to request, teachers will be able to share those in, again, that controlled and safe way. We've overhauled our catalog and ensured that we are only offering platforms that comply with the California version of the National Data Privacy Agreement. And we continue to look for new and better tools, reviewing the tools we have and looking at different options to make sure that we have best practices and that we are, again, providing the best tech option we can for our students and staff. Another summer project we did was revitalizing our acceptable use policy. Our acceptable use policy had been in place for many years. It was very outdated, really just a list of do and do nots from years and years ago. But what we wanted to do was make sure that our policy that we're showing to families and students align with the values that we've been creating through this tech reform and align better with the resolutions going forward. So, inside the AUP, we've included language about digital citizenship, about AI use, about the privacy and security measures that we've taken, about the responsible use of technology through students. So it is an updated document that better informs parents and is more transparent about the resolutions and the values that we have. The resolution, of course, identified a number of different projects. So this is an initial roadmap of some of the things that we'll be working on in broad strokes. And as you look through it, you'll start imagining each one of these projects also encompasses many little projects, and those little projects encompass many different tasks. An analogy would be building a building, right? It just doesn't go up in a couple weeks. You got to lay the foundation. The framers have to come in and do the framing. The electricians have to come in and do the wiring. The plumbers have to come in. And that's what we're looking at here. These projects are sweeping. They involve many different partnerships and alignment between our departments, between our school sites, and between our community and student committees. So all of this being broken down as we move ahead, again, push and stretch to get things done. And this is a timeline for the policy development. So the next thing that we are working on, we have the resolution is in front of you today. That's the July 21st meeting. At next month's meeting, we plan on bringing a draft of policy to be reviewed. And then that gets opened up for public comment, for public feedback. After that session, then we go back to any revisions, additions, subtractions, those kinds of things based on the feedback and the report we give the board, with a target date of October 13th for that policy work to be complete. This does align with what we saw LA Unified do. They used their committee of the whole system or framework that they have. This is similar to that, but the framework is basically the same. We come and bring it to the board. It gets open to public comment. We take in all those comments, give another report about those comments and about the edits we want to make to move towards the final version. So that is our Tech with Intent resolution, explanation, and documentation. And we look forward to your comments and questions.
Okay, I believe there's a public comment on this item.
Yes, I have one speaker, and that is Mateo Gallegos. You have 3 minutes, Mr. Gallegos.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for taking the time to hear from me today. I wanted to speak to you all about recent discussions around Tech with Intent policies. I'm optimistic about these policies, but I hope through this speech you can take a peek into my experiences and student stories to reflect on how these technology policies will change the way that students interact with school. In my survey of over 300 San Marcos students, something I saw repeated in their responses was the benefit of YouTube to supplement teacher learning outside of school. One student responded, "I have a lot of teachers that don't care too much to benefit my education, so a lot of the time I have to rely on YouTube." Another stated that they learned things slowly and from multiple perspectives, stating that YouTube videos enhance their learning and understanding. From what I've heard, students rely on multiple perspectives to understand complex topics, and sometimes teachers can't provide that educational support. It worries me that we could see students on restricted plans who rely on school-administered iPads suffer academically from a lack of resources. I also worry about research-intensive classrooms. With students on different technology use plans, I wonder how my English teacher could assign research-intensive projects that require in-depth research and web exploration outside of the classroom. However, I think that the most important aspect of these Tech with Intent policies is choice. If this board decides to adopt Tech with Intent policies, students and parents deserve to know about the choices they have. This doesn't just mean allowing them to choose, it means ensuring that every student and parent understands that there are options to support their unique educational needs throughout the year. I'm still somewhat unaware about the choices that parents have regarding access to Google services. In fact, up until this meeting, I had believed that parents could opt into YouTube access as outlined on ARIES. With these new policies, communication needs to be very obvious and clear, because every student and parent should be aware of these changes. This includes providing continual support for emergent multilingual students, students with disabilities, and students who are deaf or hard of hearing as they pursue their education, and ensuring they are informed on alternate academic resources that can replace the ones taken away. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Okay, board questions? Ms. Caffrey?
Thank you very much, Mr. Cooper and Mr. Venz, for all of your work, and also everyone who participated in the Balanced Literacy Task Force. I know this is the culmination of an enormous amount of work, and it's very exciting that this is happening today. So thank you very much. I just have a couple of questions. One is I know that we have a separate AI task force, and in the meantime, what we have done is block all AI websites. Is that correct?
That is
That's
correct.
what you said?
Yes.
So my question is about search engines that have generative AI as a part of them. I know Common Sense Media said that those generative AI searches carry unacceptable risk to young people, and I'm curious how we are addressing that. Are we allowing access to these search engines right now, or how are we addressing that concern?
So at this time, those search engines are still available because they are the search engines. I mean, it's Google, right? And so, but I think what we're talking about is when you do a Google search on a browser and you get the AI summaries that come up that are sometimes inaccurate or can hallucinate and those things. We're already in talks with our content filter partners who are looking for answers for that, and that is something that they are rapidly working towards. So we've started those conversations, and as soon as those partners can help us out there, we will enable those filters.
May I just ask a quick follow-up to that question? So I know we have been in communication with LAUSD and understand how they have progressed on this in implementing tech policy, and it seems like right now they're blocking search engines with generative AI. So I'm curious whether are the basically filters sufficient?
It is a work in progress, and we are looking at we are always looking for multiple filters and multiple avenues to do those things. It's a work in progress. We've got a month before school starts.
Go ahead. Oh, let's see. Yeah, maybe I'll have Dr. Beal go. Okay.
Thank you for that presentation. It definitely satisfied my desire to have a really clear approach with our going from our 10 to board policy. So thank you for that. I have a similar question to Board Member Caffrey. I know that when I was reviewing the LA Unified documents, they did show a page where the Google search site or the Google Access, educational access, had levels where if there was one where there was like complete blocking of everything, there was one where you had access to Google Translate. I don't know if it was Mr. Gallegos or another student who said there's some things that we use all the time that we don't want to have to ask for access. Google Translate being maybe a good example of that. And then there was, I think, the level 3, which was access to everything. So completely restricted to some very educational platforms, allowed to everything. Is that something that we have in place and that we are, so two questions. Do we have it in place, and will our high school students have access, and this is separate from a YouTube question, will have access to this more expanded Google platform?
Yes, we do have access to those controls. So we are able to set up different access for our staff, and we have different access for our students. So we have more of those filters and restrictions turned on for our students than we do for our staff. And things move quickly. So this is with the Google AI search results that you're talking about, that is something that's moving quickly and is in development.
Oh, it's actually Google Translate, which is, maybe there is an AI component now, but before there really wasn't. But will our high school students have a little bit more flexibility with some programs than, say, younger students who do not need that?
Yes, I'll just say for particularly with Google Translate, Google Maps, some of those things that we pulled back, we did not pull them back without an alternative. So on the devices, because we use iPads, there is Apple Translate and there are Apple Maps. So it's the same functionality, but not in the Google Workspace where we have to negotiate where that information is going and those things. Please.
Yeah, I think the one thing that's really important that you're bringing up is that does the high school student have the same access as the junior high school student? And that's what we're really focusing on, is just making sure we're limiting the junior high school space, but allowing more flexibility at the high school level for what they're really planning on doing, which is preparing for college and career. One thing that we know is that at this moment, we're not sure if we could do the same thing that LA Unify has done, which is parents go through and they click on what they want to do, and then it's automated. These are some of the things that we're investigating at this time. So we don't know what we don't know specifically, but we do know that we have to separate it according by grade level.
Okay, Ms. Caffrey? Oh, sorry, Mr. Escobedo?
Thanks for the presentation. What type of data are we collecting to evaluate effectiveness? Like, as we're evaluating the implementation of this, how do we know if it's working?
So there will be metrics and numbers as far as usage, but when we're making a big change like this, we're not necessarily looking back at a baseline to compare those two. So in our department, in the IT department, we really consider ourselves a customer service department, and our customers are our students and our teachers and our families. So we thrive on customer feedback. It is something that we build into everything from our ticketing system to our exit tickets from our coaching and training and things like that. So it's going to be those partnerships with different groups and the feedback that we're getting from the different tech committees and task force, from our professional developments and teacher meetings, from our administrators, et cetera.
Will we also have data on screen time, where students are spending their time using our devices?
Because, again, continuous improvement. We are looking at different tools and different ways that we can measure those things and get those reports. But at this time, I'm not ready to make any promises of any specifics that we will have.
Fair enough.
Yeah. again, we are always looking at different tools. We have already interviewed the platform that LA Unified is using for some of the dashboards and parent information that they're looking at. And we will be, moving forward on that vetting and evaluation throughout the year.
Thank you.
Ms. Caffrey?
So I just want to start by saying thank you again, just commending you for all the work that you've already done and just how much you've achieved this summer. So thank you very much. So my question is basically about the. I appreciate how there are different options for different age bands in schools. My question, do you mind pulling up that slide? Is that possible? Oh, yes, yeah. The one where parents can decide. Yes,
Yep,
yes.
that one.
Parent choice, yes. I think that is really what we've been hearing that parents want, and I think it's wonderful that we are now offering this. My question is basically about the default option, because most people accept the default option. So for high school, for example, we know that high school students need to sleep and that tech can be super distracting and interfere with sleep. So I'm curious, if we considered a default option where tech turns off after 10 p.m. or something, and then students can opt in or parents can opt in if they would like to use tech after a certain time.
I have been thinking about this particular part of the project a lot because we're very optimistic and we're very pleased with the idea of being able to offer options for our families. This project will roll out in stages, and that first stage is going to be communicating with our teachers and our families about what that after hours iPad looks like. We will be systematically gathering that information. That will be, step one. Step two, we will still need to program and engineer these changes. Step three, we'll have to do a small test of change. We'll need a pilot group to roll out, make sure that this idea will actually work in progress, changing the configuration of every single device on a school site twice a day, every day. So we've been thinking a lot about the details and rolling this out, but that first step is going to be collecting that data of what does an after-school iPad look like for these different grades.
Yes, go ahead.
So for my last question, I wonder if you could just explain a bit. We heard from Mr. Gallegos and in previous board meetings from students who are concerned about YouTube being blocked, kind of the reason behind it and how students will still have access to this type of tool.
Absolutely. Reason behind it, we have been hearing for a long time. As long as the Tech Use Committee has existed, we have heard from parents and teachers and students about the distraction of YouTube and about the off-task behavior that it is designed to elicit. It is designed to keep eyeballs on the screen. And so we think we can be a big help there. And again, what we've done is put the teacher in between open YouTube and the student. So while they don't have open access to YouTube, they can still get all of the content that the teacher wants them to get. And I imagine, developing a situation at these sites where there can be those requests as well. When a student finds a good series of videos that's going to very much help them study for their SATs or review their history project and those kinds of things, that step is go talk to that teacher or another trusted adult on our campuses. We have wonderful librarians and media specialists available for our students. And we have a lot of confidence and trust that those things will be developed as needed.
Yes, any other comments or discussion? Certainly.
So thank you so much for that presentation. It's really important, and I love to see that this work is being done because, this is a really big issue for students and parents. So thank you. I just wanted to voice some student concerns. So I got to meet with elected representatives from the high schools recently and gathered some input from students on this to be able to accurately represent or voice their perspectives as best as I can. And I was talking actually today with a student from Dos Pueblos, and they shared that because she was taking SBCC classes over the summer, and after, I believe, the ban on YouTube, this became a little bit problematic for her because for like SBCC classes, if you're taking it like hybrid, for example, you have to watch all of the lecture videos like through the professor on YouTube only. So she had to go and buy a new iPad to be able to watch her professor's lectures. So I wanted to like say maybe as all of this moves forward, I think it's really good to consider all school models. For example, middle college students have to watch YouTube lectures from SBCC professors, and that could be a little bit of a challenge for students who don't have personal devices, because even if SB Unified teachers can approve videos on YouTube over the summer, it's kind of hard to reach teachers or staff. And SBCC professors aren't a part of our district, so it's just good to keep in mind when we think about how we would be accommodating all SB Unified students. And yeah, like for example, they could reach out, but for example, middle college students only meet with their teachers once a week for about an hour, so it could be a little bit harder to work around because they're not seeing their teachers every day. So again, it's just probably good to be mindful about how this will affect school programs that rely really heavily on technology, because middle college is fully online except for SPCC classes, and a lot of the time those lectures are on YouTube. But thank you so much. This is really great work that's being done. I'd love to see it. Thanks.
Thank you. Dr. Beal?
So I'm really looking forward to the work that we're going to do moving forwards. And I know that it's a moving target. I appreciate the comments from Student Board Member Martinez Penaranda, because I think there are circumstances that are a little difficult to overcome. I don't know if Mr. Cooper can talk to us about this, but I know that there is definitely a movement to have companies say these are students using our platforms, that we need to have a student version of the platform so that, you know, what we're trying to manage with YouTube is actually mental health. And our very first student board member has taken on screen addiction and mental health as this is what I think he's doing now that he's graduated from college. And so as board members and as a district, we are also trying to manage the mental health of our students. And so there's access, and then there's mental health with unfettered access. So I don't know if Superintendent Maldonado or anybody can comment, is there a movement to say to Google, YouTube cannot be unfettered? Students should be able to use it educationally. I know I use it all the time to look up things I don't know how to do. It's very quick and easy. There's great YouTube videos out there if you're looking to learn something, but you can also keep watching, which I don't have time to do that, but I imagine it could be very attractive. So is there a movement right now to restrict those platforms to just educational, where a YouTube video won't go on to a different subject, a different thing, that sort of thing that it does?
So what we've noticed actually is there's a movement to make many changes. So to have this conversation last year on the things that we would like to do, for years I remember talking to Rob, like, we need to track the time, and this conversation about screen time, for example. Now all of a sudden we have vendors who are actually, we're not the only school district dealing with these issues. So there are vendors now who are now taking this very seriously and creating ways that not only our school district, but the big school districts are coming together and saying, we need this, and this is how we're approaching it. So to answer your question regarding Google and how they're going to be approaching YouTube, I know the only thing we know about Google at this moment is just the redesign of their California non-disclosure clause, working with the state with that. But I think we're seeing a huge wave of change across the state and across the country, actually, because of this particular issue. So we don't have anything concrete yet, but as soon as we continue to learn more, we'll inform you.
So I would say to our interested students out there, this is what you need to ask for. Not just at this board meeting, you need to ask that these companies be responsible in what they offer to students, not just for you, but for your fellow students.
So I did receive a letter from one of the parents in the tech committee asking us to engage in a letter writing campaign to write to companies to pretty much request that, and that's something that I can bring forward to our next meeting. I did respond to her that, and I made these comments at the Balanced Tech Committee. Years ago, when we had tobacco use and its harms, there were lawsuits that were filed and movements that were made to really hold them accountable because we knew young people were smoking and all the harms that it caused. And so to this day, we get funding from the tobacco companies as a result of that, those lawsuits or however that came to be. And the money that we get from tobacco companies is to teach students about the harms of tobacco use. And I think about those campaigns, and I think about what's happening with tech companies right now, to your point, and how do we create a movement to really talk, write letters, whatever the campaigns that we can use to tell tech companies, we like your product, we think it's important, it's got educational value, but we need you to come to the table and provide ways for us to use it in a responsible way that doesn't harm students. Because we know that the basis for their business model is to keep the eyeballs on the technology. That is the basis of how they make their money. So I did have a parent take me up on that comment, and I'll be meeting with her to talk about, is there something, and then we'll bring back to this board if you agree on that type of advocacy as a policy of the school district, which is another thing we can add to the work we're engaged in. But I do want to double down on what Steve and Rob said. This is a big shift, but it's not going to happen overnight. And it shouldn't happen overnight because we need to build up trust and active partnership with teachers and staff who are not in school right now. And we're fully committing to giving them the time. We're making a decision today that's really impacting teachers when they come back in August. And the training, the training, and the grace that they're going to need to make this transition smoothly, because we know 7 years ago we asked them to transition the other way. So I just want to make sure that we kind of take that into consideration. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Maldonado. Do I have a motion on this item?
I motion to approve resolution number 2025-2026-45, the intentional use of technology to support teaching and learning. Delighted.
I second the motion.
Okay, and the student advisory vote?
Aye.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, passes unanimously. Thank you. We will now go to the public hearing, the naming of the Dos Pueblos High School Greek Theater, the Scott Gutentag Greek Theater.
Yes, so this item is asking the board to name the DP High School Greek Theater the Scott Gutentag Greek Theater through June 30th, 2027 in honor of Mr. Gutentag's service at DP. Scott Gutentag, known by many as Mr. DP or Scotty G, served DP High School for 36 years and 33 of them as the activities director. In that role, he shaped the culture and climate of the school, building traditions, fostering a deep sense of belonging, connecting countless students to many opportunities and support systems within the school. He was especially known for his commitment to at-promise students and families, leaving a lasting legacy of service to generations of students and families. The Greek Theater is the central venue for the performances, assemblies, and rallies and traditions that that in that space had defined his work. DP staff, alumni, community members have proposed naming the facility in his honor. In spring 2026, DP held a recognition event at the Greek Theater announcing this proposed naming. We're now bringing the item to the board to formally complete the BP 7310 process. The board policy requires 4 steps for facility naming. Board authorization to begin the process, so that's number 1. Appointment of Citizen Advisory Committee, number 2, a public hearing, and then the final vote. The policy also allows the board to set a time limit on the name. In this case, the staff recommends a 1-year term through June 30th, 2027. So again, we're asking the 4 actions to take place tonight. I just want to bring to your attention just the authorizing number 1. Let me back up. Sorry. Number 1, authorize initiation of the BP naming process for the Greek Theater. So that's number 1. Number 2, appoint the Citizen Advisory Committee. The committee has been made up of current and former DP staff who led the recognition effort for Mr. Gutentag. So the staff included Kelly Choi, Gina Pierce, John Dent, Denise Irwin, Sienna Van Alphen, who are current staff, as well as former staff, Marietta Sanchez, Heather Magner, and Debbie Dulwana Bow. They played a central role in originating, planning, and executing the recognition effort for Mr. Gutentag. Their direct knowledge of his contributions of the community sentiment supporting the proposed name informs the recommendation now before you. The third step, which is the public hearing, that will be held after this. And then the fourth would be the motion to approve the Greek Theater. And so if we have any questions, we also have legal counsel to help with this process as well. So, thank you.
Mr. Vance, you're opening the public hearing.
Oh, I'm opening excuse me. So we now open the public hearing.
You're bringing the item for the board to open the public hearing.
Very well. I bring to you the opening of the public hearing.
Okay, we're opening the public hearing for any comments.
That's already the one next to so there's no comments.
Oh, sorry, there are no comments. Right.
Okay. Seeing that there are no speakers, I'm closing the public hearing on this item. May I have a motion to approve the naming of the Dos Pueblos High School Greek Theater as the Scott Gutentag Greek Theater for a term of 1 year?
May I ask one clarification question? So we are moving to name the facility for a year, but Mr. Venz also described a process, and is part of the public hearing to inform us that this process has started?
I'm going to ask our legal counsel to come up to address that specifically.
The public hearing is just to hear input from the public on whether they support or have concerns about the naming.
There was a citizens committee that was described with members.
Yes.
So it sounds like there's already a process that is starting. That's not for this 1 year naming, it's for a different?
No, it is for this 1 year naming. I think, as you know, we've gone a little bit out of order with this process. So the citizen committee, the names that Mr. Venz listed are folks who've been involved kind of throughout the past year in the development of the plan.
Okay, I didn't know if another process was starting
No,
after this.
yeah,
Okay.
so this is kind of just to have the board stamp and open and close the process.
then I would like to move sorry, let me find it. I'd like to move to approve the naming of the Dos Pueblos High School Greek Theater, the Scott Guntag Greek Theater, for a term of 1 year.
Second.
Okay, the student advisory vote?
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, the motion passes unanimously. Okay, we'll now move to the consent agenda. These 13 items are considered routine and are approved by a single vote unless a board member or staff would like to pull an item for separate discussion. Does any board member wish to pull an item from the consent? Okay, seeing that there's none, may I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I'll move to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Okay, do I have a second?
I second the motion.
Okay, the student advisory vote?
Aye.
And all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, the consent agenda passes unanimously. Thank you. Let's see. Okay, now we'll go into coming events. A few upcoming events to highlight for the community are July 22nd, San Simeon Oaks Village groundbreaking ceremony tomorrow morning. There's also the Leadership Institute, July 27th to the 31st at McKinley. New teacher orientation on August 13th. August 14th, the back to school kickoff day at 8 a.m. at the Arlington Theater. August 19th, the first day of school. Future agenda items. Are there any items board members would like to see brought forward? Dr. Abil?
So I actually want to clarify 2 issues. So I believe at either our last board meeting or the board meeting before, we brought up 2 items for future board discussion. One item was the idea of enrollment, which seems to be a very big topic. We've had many people come speak to us about boundaries, transfers, et cetera. So I know that we are planning a board study session, but what I'm hoping is that we can have some time at a meeting sooner rather than later, where we set the parameters of what might be discussed at an enrollment meeting, because I would like any member of the public to be able to come and speak to us, and then we make a decision about if it's so big, do we need to break it up into parts? Are we going to discuss it? So we could have future planning for a board study session. So that's one future agenda item that I'd like to have sooner rather than later. Do we have 2 meetings in August? Yes. Okay, yeah, so it'd be nice if we could fit that in August. And then one that I think is really important is we did at the last meeting, or maybe the meeting before, agreed that we would like to talk about our reserve and set our reserve, that we would have a board agenda item where we talk about that. And I know that our budget, we have a meeting in November, or we'll know in November our financial status a little bit better, and we'll also be probably starting to talk about negotiations with our unions. And so I would like to have an agenda item added sooner rather than later, where we might discuss how we might approach the issue of the reserve, maybe even tasking our finance committee, but to have that public discussion about how we can set ourselves up for a successful finance discussion when we have a study session further on, that we can have information from our finance committee. Is that clear?
Escobedo?
I just want to echo support for both of those items coming to us and in a future agenda item.
So just to be clear, I want to make sure that I'm echoing back what I heard to make sure that I got it right. We have 2 meetings in August, and you're asking us to agendize the 2 topics, one being a topic on the future study session on enrollment, and have an opportunity for all of you to help set the parameters of what will be discussed when it comes to the topic of enrollment. And the second, so is everybody in agreement? I'm sort of getting consensus from the whole board. Thank you. And the second agenda item, and I think you want this also in August meeting, is a discussion item regarding the request or the wish of this board to amend the policy on reserves, and you want us to agendize that topic, and you're asking for two things. One of them being, how would we approach determining how to set the reserves? And the second is to consider giving that task to the Finance Committee.
Correct. In anticipation of a bigger financial discussion later in the year.
Got it.
To set the, right.
So that's separate from, so during that discussion item for the reserve policy, it would be a regular board meeting. Once you decide that still leaves a potential another study session on budget that's a bigger study session. That this can inform, but is not necessary. Is that correct?
Correct. I don't see how we can, if we don't have this discussion and make some sort of decision whether we are or are not going to set a reserve, is not going to allow us to make a big financial projection or planning at the end of the year. That we have to make that decision, are we going to set that reserve? Because it really affects a lot of our finances moving forward in the year.
I'm getting a nod from our Business Services Assistant Superintendent who will take care of us. Yes, come on up, Mr. Tedeschi. Thank you.
I guess a question I would have is, would we want to come to the board for the conversation first and then with a direction for the Finance Committee? Our next Finance Committee meeting is August 18th.
Okay.
So we can maybe agendize it on the 11th to then give some direction for what we want the Finance Committee to do.
That's exactly what I mean, that we're really not planning to have a big finance discussion. Do we agree, if we have a public discussion, do we agree as the board that we want to have our Finance Committee look into this? So it may come back as something that we vote on later, but that will also inform our future financial discussions.
Yeah, I like that order of having the board discussion, then Finance Committee, and then back to board.
So I'm clear on that order, which means we'll look at August 11th and 25th and maybe reverse order the way you presented the items. And I'm just looking for consensus from all the board members that everybody's in agreement. I don't know that we take a vote on it. Do you want to take a vote on these two? So let's take the reserve policy proposal, a vote on that one, and then the proposal on the enrollment discussion.
Okay, so do I ask for a motion? Okay. Can I have a motion on the reserve policy? The reserve discussion?
I move that we open a discussion on potentially setting a reserve policy. Do I want to mention a meeting date? On August 11th.
Second.
Okay, and student advisory vote?
Aye.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And for the second item on enrollment, I wanted to know if it would be possible to have that on the second August board meeting? If that could be considered?
So I move that we have the discussion to set the enrollment parameters for our study session in the future on August 25th. Is that 25th? Correct.
Second.
Okay, student advisory vote?
Aye.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, motion passes. Okay, so that would be, our next meeting is on, regular board meeting is on Tuesday, August 11th. And this meeting is adjourned at 7:42. Thank you.